Hello everybody, how are you doing? This time it's been a few days, it is my last video. And this is not very usual for me, as you know. But there is one reason. I am reviewing a new watch, the Zelos Thresher Titanium. This watch. And I'm very excited for two reasons. First, this is a Worldtimer and I've never used one before. And second, it has a Flyer's GMT or a Traveler's GMT, which is something also that I always wanted. First, this is something that is important to state. This is a sponsored review. I got this watch from Zelos for free and I don't have to send it back. Other than that, they don't have any input in this review. So, but before I jump into the review and to measure the watch and tell everything that I found out about it, I want to make a wristwatch check. It had to be this one. This is the Zelos Eagle 2 that I reviewed from Zelos a few months ago. Now let's go and check this watch, the Zelos Thresher. Now, first thing I want to mention that this watch comes with a normal card box, okay, but inside the box we have this sweet, nice travel case for 3 watches, which is awesome. Here I have the extra links and the plastics that I removed, but we have space for 3 other watches, or 3 watches in general, to keep them safe while traveling, which is very nice. Also inside the box we have the international 1-year warranty. I like the design, this steampunk design of this card. I'm putting it away. Let's see the measures of this watch. And it's 40.8, 40.9 wide, so basically 41 millimeters wide in the case. 12.7 millimeters high, which is pretty thin for a watch with this complication. This is awesome. This is one of the good things of the Miyota movements, they're pretty thin. So 12.7 is very wearable and you can take it anywhere. From lug to lug is 47.8. So very nice and compact. The bracelet goes from 20 millimeters to 17.6 right by the buckle, and the buckle is 21.2. The crown is at 4 o'clock, the date is at 6, so making it very symmetrical. Inside we have, as I said, Miyota 9075. Well, we have anti-reflecting sapphire crystal in the front, and we also have sapphire glass here in the back. Here is the Miyota, it's a see-through case, 200 meters water resistant. Easy removal of the bracelet. And as you can see, the rotor has engraved, it's personalized, it's engraved with a world map. And also the bracelet, it has an on-the-fly adjustment, pretty generous, to whatever measure it's better for you during the day. And now, since this is a titanium watch and a watch that you may take traveling for long periods of time, let's see how much it weighs. Now it's 0, let's see, with the bracelet and everything. Here it is. Take into account that I removed 4 links for my 7¼ inch wrist. Now I'm going to try it on. This is 41, pretty compact. Now, considering that this one is 39 millimeters, they don't look that different in size. Actually, I think this one, the Eagle 2, looks a little bit bigger because the dial is more, it's a wider dial, and the the Thresher, the new Thresher, it has all the bezel and all the things going on, so it doesn't look much bigger than the Eagle 2. I would say the Eagle looks bigger actually. Well, how do we operate this watch? Being a Worldtimer, we have to take into account several things, and also a flyer's GMT, which means that the second position is going to be a little bit different from where we are used to. The first thing is that we need to unscrew the crown, and this is going to be very simple. And the first position is to wind it, to wind the watch, to put some charge in it. Okay, the second position, very briefly, because okay, second position, here it goes. The second position doesn't hack anything, it only moves the hour hand in 1 hour increments, which will be handy when we are traveling across multiple time zones. And the third position is the position that hacks the movement and allows us to set the GMT hand and also the minute. Now, let's make an example. Right now it is, let's see, it is 5 till 7 in Central European time. We are going to track not our local time, we're going to track, let's say, London time, which is kind of the GMT time that we want to, that we can track all time. Now, the GMT time would then be, if it's 7:05 here, or 5 till 7, it is then 5 till 6. Now, being everything hacked, we can move this around until we find, this is the 18th, 6 p.m. and 5 till 6 p.m. taking the hour, the GMT hand. Okay, this is the time in London, or the GMT time right now. We don't have to worry about the hour hand because right now we are going to the second position, and then we are going to adjust our local time, and our local time is, it's 7 p.m. This is our local time in Central European time, like Geneva, for instance. Now, we have everything ready and set to go. We screw the crown back down to make sure that if we go in the water, nothing is going to go inside. And now we are going to use the Worldtimer. Now, since this is the GMT time, or the London time, we are going to move here the triangle to the GMT position of the hand. So, this is London time, therefore we can now know what time it is in another areas of the world. For instance, and just to make sure, Geneva, which is Central European time, it's at 19, so 5 till 19, 5 till 7 p.m. We can check the time, for instance, let's say New York, and New York it will be 1 p.m. It's going to be 1 p.m. in around 4 minutes. We can check, for instance, in Sydney it is 4 a.m. in the morning. And so with all the areas of the world. This type of watch doesn't take into account daylight saving time. So sometimes you have to subtract 1 hour from the time zone that you are looking at. In my case, it happens with Mexico. Mexico, it says it is 12 in the midday. So, but right now it's 11 in the morning. So you take into account that there can be a slight 1 hour difference depending on the daylight saving time in the area that you're looking, or your own area, and then you're good to go. When 1 hour passes, the GMT hand will be in another position, and then, for instance, it will be at 7, the 1 hour it will be at 7. Then once the GMT hand is there, we only need to adjust the triangle of London to that position, and then we can check the time in other time zones. So every time you will need to adjust it to the right position of the GMT once the GMT has moved in 1 hour, after 1 hour or whatever. Okay, you have to take that into account, that you will need to adjust the bezel. Good thing is the bezel is 48 clicks and bidirectional, so you can change it very easily without removing from your wrist, and everything will be fine. Now let's check the design of this watch. This is a watch military inspired. It has a squared case, as you can see from the sides, especially noticeable when you're looking just sideways. It has like a thin middle case, a very big protruding bezel, which is good to manipulate, very easy to adjust. And yes, while it's very toolish from the side, the immediate moment you twist it a little bit and you look at the watch sideways, it really looks very, very good. Nice detail. All the dials have the date wheel with the same color of the dial. This one is the chalk gray, which is a paint for cars. So very nice, subtle. I think this design flies under the radar and you can wear it in many situations, more than you would expect, because of this very coherent and well-balanced design. I especially like the 3D molded hour markers that give some depth and make the dial more interesting. Depending on the shadows and the light, this really looks very, very nice. The loom is excellent, like in all Zelos watches, and everything is loomed. Hour markers, the hands, the GMT hand, the second hand, everything. But also in the bezel, the cities are loomed, and the 24-hour ring inside the dial is also loomed. The day portion is fully loomed, while the night portion, it only has loomed the markers, which is a very fun, interesting design. I really like it. The crown at 4 o'clock, makes it very comfortable, although it's a little bit big, but it doesn't hurt or anything. You don't notice while wearing the watch, being so light also. So that's a nice touch. It's also signed. It has an H-link bracelet, also very toolish, it is thin. It has screws to adjust, so very easy to adjust. I adjust it in a breeze. I had to take 4 links out for my 7¼ inch wrist. This is the chalk gray, as I said, but there are other colors like the burgundy, the dusk. All these 3 watches have gloss enameled bezels. And then you have the Damascus, which is full Damascus, the whole thing, with a strap instead of a bracelet. The buckle is also made of Damascus. You also have the Aventurine and the MOP versions that would have epoxy to protect the bezels. The rotor, it's customized and it brings a world map in the rotor and some decoration. I think it's a very good detail that shows the extent and the care they take in their designs. So a very nice looking 1975 GMT Flyers movement. Overall, a very good, balanced, well thought design. We couldn't expect less from Zelos. They always take good care of their designs. And again, being a very toolish watch, is curiously versatile. It's easy to take almost any place. It's not dressy by any means, of course, but nevertheless a nice watch. Very interesting, a lot of things going on. Nice place of the light and with the brushed and the sun blasted surfaces of the watch. Designs, functionality, variations. Now, what is it like to live with this watch? The Thresher, as you may know, is a species of shark that lives in all oceans of the world. This watch feels at home also in any place of the world, because it's designed to be a traveling watch. You can wear it all the time, no matter where you go or what time is it in the time zone, no matter if there's water involved or anything like that. After spending some time with the watch, the first thing that you notice is that while it's almost 41mm, it wears like a 40. Probably because of the bezel and the 3D hour markers and lots of hands in the dial. And talking of hands, I need to mention the Loom with the Lumicast C3 of the hour markers and the BGW9 for all the indicators of the GMT. It is great and easy to read during all the night. And as I said, these 3D markers give more depth and interest to the watch. Another very interesting thing from the everyday is that it is 1200 Vickers hardened titanium, which makes the watch both very light and comfortable to wear, and you have, this peace of mind that it's not going to scratch easily. And then you need to consider the bracelet, which is both quick release with very articulate and short H-links, and the clasps can be adjusted on the fly, so I can always get the perfect fit that I wanted for the watch all during the day. It is kind of a Swiss Army knife watch with lots of features and possible uses to travel, to keep track of different time zones, and for conferences, if you need to call somebody in other parts of the world, you will always know at a glance what time it is in the other place of the world. And the movement, the Miyota 9075, is performing great. While the rotor is unidirectional, I really can't hear it, but my auditive capabilities are not in the best shape right now. But it's being very precise. It has only been losing a couple of seconds a day, 3-4 seconds the most. So very nice, very precise, solid. It looks like a very solid movement. The operation really seems that it's very well built. So very happy with the election of this movement. Also a thin movement that allows the watch to be not too high. So 12.7 millimeters is very good to be able to, considering all the watch springs. So in short, this is a watch that can be used in more ways than I expected and goes along with your traveling international needs without being heavy or bulky. And while it's clearly inspired in the military, besides the sandblasting and the way the bezel it is, it's quite possible to be used in any normal situation without looking out of place. So a very nice everyday watch, packed with features, pretty to look at and comfortable, very comfortable. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons of the watch. There are very few negatives that I can find in this watch, but since no watch is perfect and there's always room for improvement, let's see what I can find. Well, the first thing is not about the watch, but about, the warranty. It's only 1 year international warranty, and I believe today all watches should come at least with 2 years. In Europe, most things now they have 3 years of warranty, so that's something to consider. The second thing is, I believe the crown is a tad too big, but since it's placed at 4 o'clock position, it's not really a problem. It's only that if it was a little bit smaller, the watch would look more compact. On the other hand, it's very easy to operate, and since you are going to use it when you're traveling, you're going to change the local time, then it sure will come handy to have a bigger crown to easy operate with your fingers. Another thing that I see is that sometimes it's not easy to read the date. The shadows in the window sometimes can make it difficult to read the black color dates. Maybe if the number was white, like in the other models, it would be easier to read. And to end, this is not a critique of this watch, but of the type of Worldtimers. It is that these watches don't take into account the daylight saving time. Sometimes when you think it is, let's say 8 AM in the morning, maybe it's 7, so you need to be aware of daylight saving times and on other areas. And I really can't find anything else negative, because the finishing of the watch, everything around the watch, I think it's great. But I'm going to highlight some pros that I see in this watch. And the first thing is, it's a pack of things, and it is as packed as the watch itself, because it has a lot of nice features. It is a Flyers GMT, it has a lot of water resistance, 200 meters, which makes it a watch that I can use in summer sports, bathing, diving, or anything that you might want to. So it is a very good companion to travel across multiple time zones and any weather situation, and all the time being able to keep track of all the time all around the world. Second pro to highlight is that it is a 48 clicks bidirectional bezel, not like other watches that there are only unidirectional. So 48 clicks makes it to be able to adjust even in half hours for some time zones. And being bidirectional, very easy to adjust in any situation in a breeze. No need to turn the whole bezel around. It's a very genuine Worldtimer bezel. The third thing to highlight is the loom. It has an excellent loom, like I guess all Zelos watches, because the other one that I have has also an excellent loom. It's like a torch in the night, especially at the beginning. Excellent loom with these Lumicast hour markers, great on that. Fourth thing is that it is quite thin considering all the functionality it packs, so having the extra GMT hand and everything. It is a very compact watch that you can use with long sleeves or anything. And also, besides being thin, it's also very light, which is always welcome. And to end up with the price, this one is $629 plus taxes. Being titanium with the flyer's movement and everything in the design and the loom and on the fly adjustment and easy to remove bracelet, I think it's a very, very good price. Well, as a conclusion, I was very skeptical at the beginning with this type of watch, but I have found that the work time is a very useful feature. In my case, I work in the internet, therefore I need to keep track of different time zones, and with this watch it's very easy to do. And when traveling, I really like the possibility of easily adjusting the local time, the new local time in the watch. And this is something very easy to do with a Flyers GMT. I always wanted to have one of these watches, and well, here it is. It really does the job. It is true that maybe it's not the dressiest watch, especially, from the side, that it is military inspired. The bezel is a little bit shiny, but mostly sandblasted on and brushed. So it's not the dressier watch. But if you want dressy Worldtimers, you have other options. But curiously, this is more useful, more versatile than you would expect. I'm really surprised. And I think it has to do with the beautiful design language of Zelos. They really do a great job when designing these watches. I think it's very well proportioned, the colors, everything is very well taken care of. It's been really hard to find anything to complain about this watch. I think it brings a lot to the table. If you like this design language of the watch and you travel and need to keep track of different time zones on something that you can take to the mountain, to the beach, swim and whatever, this watch is not going to disappoint. Well, thank you very much for listening. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.